Hello, my friend. Good to see you again. I am glad you are still interested in my stories. Now, where were we? Oh, yes, Odysseus was setting out for the land of the dead.
Then, when we had got down to the seashore, we drew our ship into the water, got her mast and sails aboard her, put the sheep on board, and took our places, weeping and in great distress of mind. Then Circe, that great and cunning goddess, sent us a fair wind that blew dead aft and stayed steadily with us, filling our sails all day as we held our course over the sea. When the sun went down and darkness was over all the earth, we came to the deep waters of the river Oceanus, where lies the land of the Cimmerians, shrouded in mist and darkness, which the rays of the sun never pierce, for the poor wretches live in one long melancholy night. We beached the ship, took out the sheep, and went along the waters of Oceanus till we came to the place of which Circe had told us. Paramedes and Eurylochus held the victims, while I drew my sword and dug the trench, a cubit each way. I made a drink offering to all the dead, first with honey and milk, then with wine, and thirdly with water, sprinkling white barley meal over the whole, and praying earnestly to the poor feckless ghosts. I promised that when I got back to Ithaca, I would sacrifice a barren heifer for them, the best I had, and load the pyre with good things, while Tiresias alone should have a black sheep, the best in all my flocks. When I had prayed enough to the dead, I cut the throats of the 2 sheep, and let the blood run into the trench, whereon the ghosts came trooping up from Erebus. Brides, young bachelors, old men worn out with toil, maids crossed in love, and brave men killed in battle, their armor still smirched with blood. They came from every quarter, and flitted round the trench with a strange screaming sound that made me turn pale with fear. I told the men to flay the carcasses and burn them as offerings, with prayers to Hades and Persephone, while I sat with my sword drawn, and would not let the poor feckless ghosts come near the blood till Tiresias had answered my questions. The first ghost that came was that of my comrade Elpenor, for he had not yet been laid beneath the earth. We had left his body unwaked and unburied in Circe's house, for we had had too much else to do. I was very sorry for him and cried when I saw him, "Elpenor, how did you come down here into this gloom and darkness? You have got here on foot quicker than I have with my ship." "Sir," he answered with a groan, "it was all bad luck and my own unspeakable drunkenness. I was lying asleep on the top of Circe's house, and never thought of coming down by the great staircase, but fell from the roof and broke my neck, so my soul came down to the house of Hades. I beseech you, by your wife, by the father who brought you up, and by Telemachus, the one hope of your house, do what I ask of you. When you return to the Aeaean island, do not leave me unwaked and unburied behind you, or I may bring heaven's anger upon you. Burn me with whatever armor I have, build a barrow for me on the seashore, and plant over my grave the oar I used to row with among my messmates. My poor fellow," I said, "I will do all that you have asked of me." Thus did we sit and hold sad talk with one another, I on one side of the trench with my sword held over the blood, and the ghost of my comrade speaking from the other. Then came the ghost of my dead mother Anticlea, daughter of Autolycus. I had left her alive when I set out for Troy, and tears came to my eyes when I saw her. Yet I would not let her approach the blood until I had questioned Tiresias. Then came the ghost of Theban Tiresias, with his golden scepter in his hand. He knew me and said, "Odysseus, noble son of Laertes, why have you left the light of day and come down among the dead? Stand back from the trench and withdraw your sword, that I may drink of the blood and answer your questions truly." So I drew back and sheathed my sword. And when he had drunk of the blood, he began his prophecy. "You wish to know about your return home, but heaven will make it hard for you. I do not think you will escape the eye of Poseidon, who still nurses his bitter grudge against you for having blinded his son. Yet after much suffering you may get home, if you can restrain yourself and your companions when your ship reaches the Three-Nation Island, where graze the sheep and cattle of the sun, who sees and hears everything. If you leave these flocks unharmed and think only of getting home, you may yet reach Ithaca after great hardship. But if you harm them, I foretell the destruction of your ship and of your men. Even though you yourself escape, You will return in misery after losing all your companions, and you will find trouble in your house, where violent men consume your substance while courting your wife. When you have slain these suitors by force or by guile, you must take a well-made oar and carry it onward, until you come to a people who know nothing of the sea, who do not mix salt with their food, and know nothing of ships or of oars that are the wings of a ship. A traveler will meet you and say that the oar upon your shoulder is a winnowing shovel. There you must plant the oar in the ground and sacrifice a ram, a bull, and a boar to Poseidon. Then return home and offer hecatombs to all the gods of heaven, one after another. As for yourself, death shall come to you from the sea, and your life shall ebb away very gently, when you are full of years and peace of mind, and your people shall bless you. This, I answered, must be as heaven wills. But tell me truly, I see my poor mother's ghost beside the blood, sitting there in silence. Though I am her son, she does not know me. How may I make her recognize me? Any ghost that tastes the blood, he said, will speak with you like a living being, but those who taste it not will go away again. Then the ghost of Tiresias returned to the house of Hades, for his prophecy was spoken, and I sat there until my mother came forward and drank of the blood. Then she knew me at once and spoke lovingly. My son, how have you come to this abode of darkness while still alive? It is a hard thing for the living to see these places, for great and terrible waters lie between us and Oceanus, which no man can cross on foot, but only in a good ship. Are you still wandering from Troy, and have you not yet reached Ithaca, nor seen your wife in your own house? Mother, I said, I was forced to come here to consult the ghost of Tiresias. I have never yet reached the Achaean land, nor set foot on my native country, and from the day I sailed with Agamemnon for Ilius, I have known nothing but sorrow. But tell me truly, how did you die? Tell me of my father, and of the son I left behind me. Is my property still in their hands? And what does my wife intend? Does she remain with my son and guard my house, or has she married another? Your wife still remains in your house, my mother answered, but she is in great distress and spends her days and nights in tears. No one has taken your property, and Telemachus still holds your lands in peace. Your father stays in the country and never comes to the town. In winter, he sleeps on the floor before the fire with the servants, clothed in rags, and in summer he lies in the vineyard upon a bed of vine leaves. He grieves continually for your absence, and suffers more as old age comes upon him. As for me, heaven did not take me by illness, nor by a painless death. My longing for you, and my love for you, this was the death of me. Then I tried to embrace my poor mother's ghost. Thrice I sprang toward her, and tried to clasp her in my arms, but each time she fluttered from my embrace like a dream or a shadow. Mother, I cried, why will you not stay when I would embrace you? If we could hold one another, we might find some comfort even here in the house of Hades. My son, she answered, this is the lot of all the dead. The sinews no longer hold the flesh and bones together. These perish in the fire when life has left the body, and the soul flits away like a dream. Go back, therefore, to the light of day as soon as you can, and remember all these things, that you may tell them to your wife hereafter. Thus did we converse, and Persephone sent up the ghosts of the wives and daughters of famous men. They gathered about the blood, and I drew my keen sword and kept them from drinking all at once, so that each came forward in turn and told me her race and lineage. The first was Tiro, daughter of Salmoneus and wife of Cretheus. She loved the river Enipeus, the fairest river in the world. As she walked beside it, Poseidon, disguised as the river god, lay with her at its mouth, while a great blue wave arched over them like a mountain and hid both woman and god. When the god had embraced her, he took her hand and said, Tiro, rejoice! The embraces of the gods are not fruitless. Within 12 months you shall bear noble twins. I am Poseidon. Go home and tell no one. Then he plunged beneath the sea, and in due time she bore Peleus and Neleus, mighty servants of Zeus. By Cretheus she bore Aeson, Pharis, and Amethaon, a great warrior and charioteer. Next I saw Antiope, who had lain in the arms of Zeus, and bore him 2 sons who founded 7-gated Thebes and built its mighty walls. I saw Alcmena, who bore indomitable Hercules to Zeus, and Megara, daughter of King Creon, who became the wife of that redoubtable hero. I saw fair Epicaste, mother of Oedipodes, whose dreadful fate was to marry her own son unwittingly. He married her after slaying his father, and when the gods revealed the truth, he remained king of Thebes in bitter grief. But Epicaste went down to Hades by her own hand, hanging herself in sorrow, while the avenging spirits pursued her son thereafter. Then I saw Chloris, whom Neleus won with splendid gifts for her beauty. She bore Nestor, Chromius, Periclymenus, and the marvelously lovely Pero, desired by all the land around. I saw Leda, wife of Tyndaris, who bore Castor, breaker of horses, and Pollux. Mighty with the gloves, by Zeus's will they die and live on alternate days and have the honor of the gods. After her I saw Iphimedea, beloved of Poseidon, who bore the giant brothers Otus and Ephialtes, the tallest and fairest of mortal men save Orion alone. At 9 years old they were already 9 fathoms high, and they threatened war against Olympus itself, piling Ossa upon Olympus and Pelion upon Ossa, that they might climb to heaven. But Apollo slew them before the first beard appeared upon their cheeks. Then I saw Phaedra, Procris, and fair Ariadne, whom Theseus carried away from Crete, yet never possessed, for Artemis slew her upon the island of Dia. I saw Maera also, and Clymene and hateful Eriphyle, who sold her own husband for gold. But it would take me all night to tell of every wife and daughter of the heroes whom I saw there, and it is time for me to go to my rest. Thus I spoke, and all sat silent, held spellbound throughout the cloistered hall. Odysseus, noble son of Laertes, the tale you have told is worthy of your wisdom and your courage. But pray continue, and tell us of the other mighty spirits whom you beheld in the house of Hades. So I continued my tale. I saw Agamemnon, son of Atreus, surrounded by the souls of those who had perished with him in the house of Aegisthus. When he had drunk of the blood, he knew me instantly. He wept aloud, stretched out his hands toward me, but had no strength left to embrace me. Odysseus, noble son of Laertes, favored of Zeus, what evil fortune has brought you also to this joyless land? Better to endure any hardship beneath the sun than reign among the dead. I pitied him greatly and answered, Son of Atreus, king of men, what doom brought you here? Did Poseidon overwhelm your fleet, or did enemies strike you down in battle? Neither, he replied. It was Aegisthus, aided by my wicked wife, who murdered me at a banquet after I had returned home. They slaughtered me like an ox beside the manger, while my companions perished around me. Yet the most pitiful sight was my wife, who stood over me without shame. Therefore, never trust a woman wholly, however wise she may seem. Keep some thoughts hidden even from your own wife. But I do not speak thus of Penelope. She is wise and faithful, and was still young when you sailed for Troy. Surely she has preserved your son and your household. She will welcome you with all her heart if the gods grant your return. But my own wife has brought everlasting shame upon herself, and upon all women who shall come after her. Thus we stood grieving together, speaking of our sorrows. Then I saw Achilles, son of Peleus, with Patroclus, Antilochus, and mighty Ajax standing near him. Achilles knew me at once when he had tasted the blood. Odysseus, what greater deed have you now devised, that you have dared descend alive into the realm of Hades, where the strengthless spirits dwell? I came to seek Tiresias, that he might tell me how I may yet return to rocky Ithaca. But tell me, Achilles, surely no man has ever been more blessed than you. While you lived, we honored you as a god, and now you rule gloriously among the dead. Therefore grieve not because you have died. Speak not comfortably to me of death, noble Odysseus. I would rather be the hired servant of a poor man upon the earth than king over all the dead. But tell me of my noble son. Did he prove himself among the warriors? And what of my father? Does Peleus still receive honor among the Myrmidons? Your son, Neoptolemus, surpassed all the Achaeans in courage. I told him how his son never hung back in battle, how he fought among the foremost, slew many champions, and entered the wooden horse with the bravest of us all. I told him that not once did fear overcome him, nor did he disgrace the noble blood of Achilles. When he heard these things, the spirit of Achilles strode proudly through the meadow of asphodel, rejoicing that his son had won great renown. Then I saw Ajax, son of Telamon, who alone still cherished anger against me, because I had won the armor of Achilles. Ajax, let not your wrath pursue us even among the dead. It was the will of heaven that awarded me those arms. But Ajax answered nothing. He turned away in silence and vanished among the other spirits of the dead. There I saw Minos also, glorious son of Zeus, seated with a golden scepter in his hand, giving judgment among the dead, while the spirits gathered about him to hear his decrees. Then I beheld mighty Orion, driving the beasts he had slain upon the lonely mountains, carrying in his hands the bronze club that can never be broken. I saw Tydeus, son of the earth, stretched over 9 acres of ground, while 2 vultures sat upon him, tearing at his liver without ceasing, because he had offered violence to Leto, the honored wife of Zeus. Then I saw Tantalus, suffering cruel torment. He stood in a lake whose water reached his chin, yet whenever he stooped to drink, the water vanished beneath him, and the dark earth appeared at his feet. Above his head grew tall trees, laden with fruit, pears, pomegranates, apples, sweet figs, and rich olives. But whenever he reached to grasp them, the wind carried the branches beyond his reach. I saw Sisyphus also, straining with all his might to roll an enormous stone uphill. Again and again he forced it almost to the summit, but whenever it was about to reach the crest, some mighty power hurled it backward, and down to the plain it thundered once more. Then he would begin again, sweating, exhausted, while the dust rose thick about his head. After him I beheld mighty Hercules, or rather his phantom, for the hero himself dwells among the immortal gods, feasting beside them with Hebe for his wife. Around him the ghosts fled in terror, crying like frightened birds, while Hercules stood with his bow bent, as though forever ready for battle. When he recognized me, he spoke with pity. "Odysseus, noble son of Laertes, you too endure the bitter fate that I myself endured beneath the sun, though I was the son of Zeus. I suffered beyond measure, serving a man far beneath me, who laid grievous labors upon me. Once he even sent me here to bring away the hound of Hades, believing no harder task could be found. Yet with Hermes and bright-eyed Athena to guide me, I accomplished it and returned alive." With these words, the phantom of Hercules departed once more into the house of Hades. I remained where I was, hoping that other famous heroes might yet appear before me. But terror seized my heart, lest dread Persephone should send against me the ghastly head of the Gorgon. Therefore I hastened back to my ship. My companions climbed aboard, loosed the hawsers, and took their places upon the benches. Then the current of Oceanus carried us onward, while the wind filled our sails, and our black ship sped swiftly away from the land of the dead.
I am afraid that is all for tonight, but should you return, I will tell you of Odysseus's return to Circe and of his further woes.